right, there you are.
Hi everyone, Sarah here from the Paper Cut. I am feeling better, thank you. Relatively speaking, I'm feeling like way better because Thursday was very rough. Hang on, let me check volume. Oh, yep, there we have volume. Okay, so yes, I am here today. I was headed to a retreat, actually driving there on Thursday, and right when I was leaving, I told my son, I said, I kind of feel weird. Like I have a stomach ache, which is really unusual. And I got to Madison, which is like an hour and a half from our house. And I actually had to pull off and throw up. So yeah, that doesn't happen very often. And then, yeah, then it came on like a freight train. That was Thursday. And I am feeling better. I'm still watching what I eat this morning because yeah. So anyways, but I wanted to get through today because I need to reschedule the Fun Time Thursday that was on Thursday. So if you're a Fun Time Thursday peep, I was just talking to my mom about it. And I think we're going to do it middle of the day on Monday, just because I have things going on Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and then Thursday night is our bake-along. So even though it'll be in the middle of the day and probably a lot of you can't join us, you can watch the replay. So I think at noon on Monday Central Standard Time, I will finalize that with my mom and I will post it later. So anyways, but I'm here today. I didn't want to get too behind and I feel well enough and my mom was comfortable enough with me being here. So anyways, let's go down to the table. I don't even know how much time I have, to be totally honest with you. I don't know who's on after me. I didn't pick a door prize. So, okay. So anyways, today we are doing the Woodland Winter Crafters Classroom. Jill just commented about pepperoni bread. So oh, you know what? I brought all of that stuff in my car. I brought all of the papers in my car that shows what we're going to need. But so I don't forget it later, I'm just going to grab those really quick if I can find them. Actually, never mind. I can't find that paperwork. It's actually out in my car because I still haven't even brought everything in that I was taking to my retreat. But yes, we will be making pepperoni bread for our Craftalong on Thursday along with an overnight French toast. And I will get the ingredients posted maybe tomorrow. I'll get the ingredients posted for the pepperoni bread. So let's go on to our Woodland Winter Craftalong.
Yeah, I'm trying not to take this bug home with me.
Yeah.
I need to be there.
Because,
I dance tomorrow, so I'm hoping I don't get sick.
we haven't hugged.
No.
So no hugging today. No hugging Sarah today. Okay, so the 4 cards that we're doing, and this is a stamping, and usually I am on it and send you a list of...
Misty's on at 3.
Oh, Misty's on at 3.
Which is 2, so you've got an hour.
I've got an hour. Okay. And
thank you, Teresa.
I normally send out an email with supplies that we need, and I did not do that just because I didn't. So the kit you could have ordered with the stamp set, which I'm missing the deer. He's lost in action. I don't know where he's at, but I didn't use that on my cards anyways. So you will for sure need clear blocks, brown ink pads for this one, green ink pad and some markers for that one, and I did use a white like gelato marker for down there. This one I did with either silver embossing powder or just a white ink pad and then a black ink pad. This one has like a medium brown ink pad and a cranberry ink pad. So sorry that I'm just giving you this right now. I'm going to start with the easiest one, so if you do need to gather supplies, you can do that. But yeah, normally I'm on the ball and do that, and this time I was not. Okay, so let's get going. So let's see. This one has the least amount of supplies. Oh, Laura. Okay, so I will talk about pepperoni bread because some people want to do their shopping tomorrow. So if we finish early, I will go out and actually grab the picture sheets I have. They're in my car. I thought
something I can go find for you?
Yeah, you could actually go find. My keys are on the counter, or I think my keys are on the counter. In the back seat, there's a box.
Okay.
And in the box, there's orders for people because I was taking some orders with me. There should be some stand-up papers in there. They're cardstock. They have my pepperoni bread instructions. So my mom's going to go get them. She's going to save the day. So anyways, let's get out. Now I did use this stamp. Okay. I have a clear block. I did use a silver embossing one, or like I said, on this one I just used a white, so this will give you a more subtle look, or if you don't like to heat emboss, you could do the white. Oh, I just mooged that one with my fingers, which I haven't even been here that long. And I got something on there already anyways. That just means I'm going to have to put some snow on the background of this one to cover that up. So I've got that. I've got my silver. I've got my silver embossing powder. Yes, yesterday was not fun. This little card is to do your little all things bright right there. So let's go on and do this first. Now I didn't do my tree in the center. Now I do like to take my fingernail or a scissors or something. There, my mom found the stuff. So after this first card, I'll go to pepperoni bread ingredients. And that will let some of you maybe catch up if you are gathering supplies. Oh, yes, I did post pictures of the supplies, but I will pull them out really quick after we finish this first card, because this one's pretty easy. So we don't do stamping classes a whole lot. And this one I did not stamp all the way centered because then it's not leaving room at the bottom for your words. So I did offset this one higher to the top. And I am not doing it on a MISTI, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I stamp it good. If I don't, there's always the back. Yep, that's pretty good. And if it's not perfect, it's okay. It's a tree. Trees are definitely not perfect.
Look at those nails, Sarah. Ooh, your nails look so
Oh yeah,
nice.
I did get red nails for Christmas. So this kind of brought me full circle because a year ago is when my daughter took me to get my nails done, and I got the red, and that was like the first time, and then I started doing it regularly. So a year later, now I did red also. Oh yeah, my mom got her hair cut. Spiked. Well, not totally spiked, but. Okay. Now I do have a tiny little smoogie right there, which I actually might turn it over and do the other side. Because sometimes when you're inking up with embossing ink, I find that sometimes, you know, you kind of have to season it every time, where you just get better images if you do it once, stamp it off, and then stamp it on to your project. So let's see if I get a little bit. I mean, it looked fine, but let's try again. Oh, then I missed the whole thing. Okay, so I'm going back, and that's probably because I had embossing on this side. So yeah, the other side was perfect. Okay, whatever. Now, because this is embossing ink, I'm just gonna get that off before I put it away. And then I'm going to grab my All Is Calm and Bright. In one of the other kits I have some other words. I don't think they're small narrow words like this, but if you have a different word you can certainly use a different word. And I have a black ink pad here. Now the Sucanico VersaFine usually stays a little bit wet, so I'm going to heat set it to dry it so when I handle it I don't smooch it. The paper is a little bit bigger than what you need, so you can always stamp it 2 or 3 or 4 times. Set some aside to use for later.
Boy, I was using some super glue. I got it on my finger.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I think the width was correct on here. Yes, it was. So I did attach that solid, which is what I'm going to do right now. And then I'm going to use foam tape on my words. Then we're going to go to pepperoni bread ingredients really quick. If you have not joined us for our and we've done this for a few years where we do a bake along because it's right before Christmas. Who wants to make cards right before Christmas? I mean, maybe you do, but usually I'm getting ready for the holidays and this is one of the things that I do. So it's just a little break from the card making. We do a bake along instead.
Different kind of creativity.
Yeah, different kind of creativity. So it's if you've never joined us, please join us on Thursday for our bake along. Anybody that's done it, if you want to let them know how yummy the recipe is, that would be good.
You can share it. We just can't tell Dave.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a secret family recipe that I shared and got in trouble with my brothers. Oh well. Okay. He'll get over it. Or maybe he won't. No, he will. He's fine. Okay. Ingredients. Now we're doing an overnight French toast, but for our pepperoni bread ingredients, if you're joining us, we need the Roadie's bread dough, and you just need one. It comes in a pack of 3 or 5. I'm going to go through this kind of quick because we need to get onto our cards. Pepperoni. This is a 6-ounce package. And
what time on Thursday? Same as normal.
6 o'clock. Yep, same as normal. Oh, pepperoni or bread dough frozen. You'll thaw it on that day, and I'll tell you, thaw it about 7 to 8 hours before. In the refrige. I do mine on the counter, but sometimes they explode. So if you do that, only make it like 6 hours. Pepperoni. Then we have 1 package of cheese, like 7 to 8 ounces. My mom mixes. She does half Swiss, half mozzarella. I normally do mozzarella. A half a cup of Parmesan cheese. 2 eggs. A teaspoon of Italian seasoning plus some to shake on top. Garlic powder, which is like a 1/4 of a teaspoon. 2 tablespoons of parsley, and this is the dried parsley. Pepper, which I think is 1/8 of a teaspoon, and then an 8 or 9 inch round cake pan. So please join us on Thursday for that. If you're going to make the overnight French toast, it is day-old French bread. This I don't have the picture ingredients. 6 large eggs, nutmeg, cinnamon, mace, vanilla, 2 cups half and half, 1 cup whole milk. My mom does a very berry one too, so if you want that, there's mixed berries you could do. For the topping, it's 1 stick of butter, 1 cup of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of dark corn syrup, and 1 cup nuts. Which kind of nuts do you use? Pecans or walnuts? Walnuts. Okay.
But
so
you can use whatever you want.
Okay. I will post those on my page. But yes, please join us if you haven't done that, because it's super fun. and it's just different from the norm. Okay, let's go on to card number 2. We'll do the With Sympathy next.
So I was out with my girlfriends this morning, and we were looking up stuff on the internet.
Uh-huh.
Talking about corn syrup.
Okay.
You know, corn syrup is a natural laxative.
Oh, I did not know that, so I don't want to use that today.
Yeah, I know. So you want peppermint today because that's soothing for your
That's soothing for your stomach?
Yeah.
All right, so in our one card, we have our Grocer Craft card. We have a Grocer Craft layer. This is our stamping layer, so we'll keep that out. These 2 layers can get attached right now because one goes on the inside, one goes on the outside. So let's get some layers out of the way. Last year, well, we've done the pepperoni bread as an annual thing. Last year we did wild rice quiche to go with it because breakfast is a big deal in our family. And then the years before that we've done, I think you did a fudge.
We did a fudge.
I think maybe you did a fudge a couple of years, didn't you?
I don't know.
Oh.
I don't remember.
Well, anyways, so we're making it through our breakfast dishes with the pepperoni bread.
We'll get into desserts. Last week I did a peppermint bark cream cheesecake.
Yeah, and it
Took
was
me 3
yummy.
days to make it.
Yeah, that would be a craft
Well, we
long
can't
thing.
do that. But we can share the recipe.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was fun.
So, anyways, now on here you have this white or semi-white is for your tree. Then you have these 2 layers, which this layer is cut to size. This one is not. Because depending on which tree you use or how... Yeah, I gave you a bigger piece of paper in case you need to stamp it twice because it's a solid tree and who knows. Then you also have different sayings. So you could use any of these sayings on there. This is a sympathy card. You could use whatever. So let's cut a saying first.
Laura, aren't you a nurse, Laura?
Sometimes I will not cut my sayings and I'll just kind of save those in the sleeve, which I will probably do anyways, because then you can just save it for whatever occasion you need it for. Okay, but I cut thank you, and I think the width is cut to size. All right, so I'm going to save. See, this is what I do sometimes. I'll put my other sayings right inside the word or in the back of the sleeve, so then I see what I can do. Okay, so I did use cranberry, which is an Adirondack, which is super old, but it was the right color, so that's what I used. I did pull this one. I don't know where my deer went. I'm kind of disturbed by my deer missing in action. Uh-oh is right. So now I am going to stamp it, but I'm going to stamp it on my paper pad first, just to get a good image. Nice. And sometimes if you huff on it, you know, then you'll get a little bit better image. So depending on your ink pad, actually I bought 2 Adirondacks out here from my stash because I wasn't sure which one would be juiciest, and at the moment, oh, nope, the other one is. I couldn't find the re-inker. So, and you can see that sometimes I'll turn my paper at a weird, you know, angle to stamp it. Why do I do that? I don't know. I guess just what's turning my crank at the time.
Wendy Little, have you made that espresso fudge, Wendy?
Oh yeah, espresso fudge, that's what we
Yeah.
did.
Oh, I liked it when we had our espresso grinder and we could grind fresh beans
Mm-hmm.
for our espresso fudge.
So I think I used this one to do the brown one too. So I'm going to semi-clean it off. It's not cleaning very much, but I'm going to leave that one on there. So now let's cut our tree. cut it as close or as far away as you would like. And you have extra paper there, so if you smooch it, like I'm worried that I'm gonna do, you have extra to stamp more. Oh, I'm going to leave this out here because I am going to, let's see, I'm going to pull out both of these pieces.
Yeah, red matches your fingernails, so.
Ah. All right, so I do have that cut fairly decently. I am going to attach it onto my gold, and then I'm going to trim my gold after. That's totally up to you. I'm kind of a go for it kind of gal. I don't like to measure a whole lot. So I'd rather cut it while it's on there. Especially for these littler things. Like my bigger layers, I will measure and cut. Actually, I don't measure a whole lot. If I measure one, oh crud. So this one I did smooch it. So okay, Sarah is to the drawing board again. And I'm restamping my trees. So I might heat set those to dry them, just like I did with the other tree. I hate it when I do that. Oof. All right. Well, it's not as dark, but it will do because nobody's going to see the other one that I did. And I am going to heat set. Not that you need to heat set, especially if you're doing a bunch of them, but I mean, it was a dye-based ink pad, so you would think that it would just totally be dry, but when we're working with it right away, sometimes that happens when you don't want it to. And your fingers get dirty and kind of mad that I attached it to my gold mirror card already, though. Because I think I cut this one just a hair smaller. You know what I did? But I'm going to layer it on. I'm going to cut it a tad smaller so it looks like it's double layered. See, there's a way around everything.
For sure.
So top to bottom it's cut. Yep. See, even when I do stuff, I don't always do it perfect. All right. So yeah. Double layering was not in the original, but I did a double layer now. And that's okay. But now if I smooch it, now I'm in big trouble. Because I don't, well, I do have more paper here, but. Yes, I can explain the difference between a pigment and a dye-based ink.
Oh, I gotta get that.
So a pigment ink is like the Adirondacks. Oh, you know what? I'm going to eat my words on this one, because one of the differences that I was going to tell you about the difference between a pigment ink and a dye-based ink would be the type of pad they're on. Typically, dye-based inks are on a felt pad and pigment inks are on a sponge pad, but some of the newer dye-based inks are on sponge pads. Like this is a Catherine Pooler pad that they're really juicy, and I'm going to use one later, but this is on a sponge pad versus a felt pad like most dye-based inks. But dye-based inks dry quicker. Pigment inks will stay wet longer, and you can use them for embossing. So if I tried to emboss with an Adirondack pad, the powder wouldn't stick to it. It's a thinner ink versus the pigment ink is a much thicker ink and stays wetter longer. So, but my whole theory on the sponge pads just got shot in the face when I have this pad sitting here that is a dye-based ink pad. So typically that's how I would tell you to tell the difference between the two. But that's no longer true. So anyways, but yes, a pigment pad you should be able to emboss with because it's going to stay wetter longer on your paper. It's not going to dry. Typically to dry it, you need to emboss it with powder or heat it to emboss it. So let's go on to this one, and we are going to stamp just with a medium brown ink pad, and we are going to use, I used just this little guy right here, but you could use this bigger one. So if you want them to go in further, like all the way in, then you can use this bigger guy. If you just want them, and you could still use this bigger guy and just use the end of it to do this, or you could just use the little one. Totally up to you. And yes, I probably should have done that part before I now, is this chocolate? Yes, that's chocolate. Okay, so let's see if I have some. I'm looking for a lighter brown ink pad, which I might have forgot to get out. Hang on one second. And I can't find my browns from Brass and Bliss. They might be here somewhere. So any like medium brown ink pad. And I am just going to go around. And you can do a couple of them if you want. Just if you're doing a couple, what you want to be careful with, and I'm just going to do this one so I can come back and show you. But if you want to stamp off, don't, when you hit that edge, you're going to get a funny look like that. So if you do it longer, then do the secondary one shorter. And I'm going to show you that really quick. So if you do a longer first one and you want to do a secondary image, do it shorter. Because, and I'm not going to stamp this one as hard. If you do a secondary one, do it short. Oh, so this one doesn't stamp a secondary one very, very dark. Okay then. I guess I'm just sticking to first images.
Pigment ink is also more suitable for archival purposes.
Oh really? I didn't know that. And maybe you want some coming out of the middle because then they're coming out of here. So totally up to you what you want. There are some archival dye-based inks.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, there's
nice.
like some dye-based inks that are like archival. I know there's blacks anyways.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that.
But I don't know if there's a whole line of colored ones. I'm not sure. There's so many inks out there these days because all the companies are doing them.
Yeah.
We did have inks that matched the pop tone papers, but it was just so hard. So, and then everybody and their brother has matching ink pads, so I really don't find it a problem. I just use what I have and usually make do with that. Okay, so now This we're going to attach onto there just with regular adhesive. Then we'll use foam tape to attach our other 2 layers. So this one, I mean, you could attach it right in the middle, you could go high, and then your word. So I'm going to attach those with foam tape.
I wonder what your dad would have to say about that.
I don't know. Yeah, you wonder what a printer, my dad was a printer, so you wonder what he would have to say about different types of inks. Because I'm sure our discussion on inks would be different than a printer's version or printer's discussion on the inks, because I'm sure they probably know, you know, they may know more than we do on ink and quality and printing and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
It's always interesting when we were, Bobby and I would have those discussions because we were die cutters, embossers, and foil stampers. And there's a big difference between embossing from the art
world.
art world than in a print shop.
Mm-hmm.
But not.
Right.
But not. Some of it's the same.
Just using pressure versus heat. Mm-hmm. Well, heat and pressure.
Heat and pressure.
Heat and pressure. All right. So there you go. There's card number 2. Oh, I forgot a layer. Silly me. Yep. Who said that?
Kathleen.
Kathleen. Yep. So there we go. I was like, something doesn't look right here. Okay, so next we're going to go on to the brown one. The brown one, they're all brown. Oh well. Let's go on to this one next. I didn't remember how much time I asked for. I probably could have asked for an hour and 15, but oh well. Okay, so that one I did use the same tree. Okay, I did use brown ink pads, and you could use 2 different brown ink pads. You have 2 hills, so you can use whichever hill you want to use, you know, depending on how you want it to go on there. I thought that there was a paper piece in here too. Okay, I think I totally forgot a piece in here. Oh, no, I didn't. We used the Merry Christmas that was on the stamp. Shoo! I thought, oh my gosh, Sarah, you really screwed up. So let's go ahead and attach this brown layer right to the card front, just to get that out of the way.
So if anybody's in the Milwaukee area and wants to come and watch me dance tomorrow, I'm dancing in Hartford, the Northern Lights Showcase. Northern Lights Ball Showcase, put on by Madison Ball & Company.
All right, so decide which one, and you could post that on our Facebook page, or you could post the link, Mom, onto here if you wanted. So why did I give you 2? Because you can take, I don't know why I gave you 2, but anyways, you could take 1. Well, first of all, let's stamp our Merry Christmas on 1. Pull the Merry Christmas out, and then we'll just set that aside to dry, because we know from experience today that sometimes inks don't dry as fast. So we're going to just stamp it, set it aside to dry. And I am going to be buzzing through a little bit faster. So I'm going to stamp it now. I'm going to let it go all the way till the end. So I'm just going to stamp it over towards the side. And you do have an extra one if you do happen to screw up. All right, so we did that. Now, if we have the same, like the other one, they're the same. So if we know that we're attaching it like this, we could use this other one and just take a pencil. Oops, not a pencil without a sharp end to it. So take a pencil or a pen and you could trace that, just because then you know about where your trees are going to go. So we could trace that, and then when we end up attaching this one, we'll attach it slightly over that traced line. But now you kind of have an extra hill for one, and you have a frame of reference for where your trees are going to follow. Now when I did this one, I did do it where I stamped a dark one and a light one. The only thing that I want to caution you of is something we just talked about with the last card, is if you stamp one of the darker ones off the side, don't go stamp the next one because you'll end up with a line right there. Okay, so if I want to get a secondary one, it has to be one that is from the middle of the page. So if I want a second one, I can stamp it there. You know, and I can even make a higher one up there if I wanted to. And I could put a lower one, darker right there. So totally up to you on how you want to position your trees. And you get for sure 2 images out of there. And if you want more, like I think I'd put a few more dark images on here. Now this one again, I'm off the edge, so I don't want to stamp my secondary one because I'm going to get that dark image. So, and if I want some lighter images on there, and you know, I already have the dark images that I want, I can just go ahead and stamp it. Like if I want a forest that's a little bit more, I can go ahead and stamp them, you know, off on here and then where I'm stamping. And again, I can put them at some different heights. So then you can see if you like it. So forgot about that. So just make sure that, you know, you're below that line, but not too far below. So, okay, I like mine, so I'm gonna just stop right there. You could have used 2 different browns. You kind of get that effect when you are just stamping on and off anyways. I'm just going to put this one away because as I found out, if I don't put them away, my deer is missing in action. I want to make sure that little guy is dry, so I am going to dry him. I'm going to just dry these a little bit too. Dry him.
You gave us 2 because we could mess up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or I could mess up. So, and then I am going to snip that guy. So now I can attach him with foam tape and then snip him, or I could snip him first. For me right now, because I have inky hands, I want to handle as little as possible. So I am going to lay him down, put my foam tape on the back, and then I'm going to snip him off. And I am going to do my glitter if you want. I did glitter on my snow hill. So that's a totally if you want to thing. Yeah, I usually give you, I try to give you extras if I feasibly can, you know, just because I want you to be happy with your cards, and I understand mistakes happen. So this is more foam tape than I normally do. Oh, and I don't need it at the end there. But yeah, you have an extra hill in there. All right, now I'm gonna chop off on the back. Now this is something that I normally don't do. I normally don't have foam tape on this layer and then go ahead and attach it to the second layer, except I'm just trying not to handle it as much because it is a little bit harder getting tape on the back of here depending on the tape runner you're using. With an ATG, I'm pretty good at it, and depending on the tape you're using, you could put it on here, just don't go all the way out to the edge because your top layer isn't going to go all the way out to the edge. So either put it on the back of here or on your dark brown. Oops. And here I just said I'm pretty good with an ATG, and then it didn't work right away because my ATG is getting close to out. So you have to push down a little bit harder. All right, then I do have some glitter, and this is a totally you thing, and I do have a glue like marker, and I'm gonna add glitter, and if you're not a glitter girl, that's okay. I am gonna take this off the table and do it over my garbage can.
15 more minutes, Sarah.
Okay. I was worried about time, but I think we're going to be okay. All right. So yeah, a little bit different because I have a bigger border down here, and that's just when I was doing it. And I also didn't stamp as dark, but hey, that's okay. All right. There we go. Now we're on to our next one. Okay. Now, let's see, what do we have here? I think this was one of the first ones I made in this whole set. All right, now I was gonna say, okay, I just looked at the kit and I'm like, why did I give you two? Well, because one has words on it. All right, that's why. Okay, let's go ahead and stamp. Let's pull out two stamps out of our set. I have the little house. We're going to stamp that first on the cream piece. And I am using a VersaFine Clair, which is not the most optimal for drying. So that's why I'm going to do that first, and then I'm going to set it aside while we move on. And I'm going to stamp two little houses. I might stamp 3 or 4 little houses just to get them stamped while I've got them out. Sometimes that's a good plan. All right, there we go. Now I'm going to put my little house away. And while I've got the stamps out, I'm going to grab this guy. What did I do there? Okay. I'm going to grab this guy, and this is a long one. And I had tried it in brown and obviously didn't clean it very good, so we'll see how my green goes on top of that. I am going to dry, because I used VersaFine Clair, which is not great for coloring. I'm just going to dry these, but I still am going to move on, just to give them longer dry time before I color.
Oh, Sarah, considering how sick you were, you were doing an excellent job, like always.
Thank you. Yeah, I wasn't sure about today. Yesterday, I'm like, oof, let's see. So, all right, so pick a word and cut the word closer, fairly close to the bottom, but then leave a space at the top. Because that's how I give you, rather than just giving you one big layer with one word that you may or may not use, I give you a few different words. And what we're going to do is we're going to trim that, and we are going to attach it to our other layer. Then we're going to use this brown to cover up the seam. So that's the whole theory behind that. So this smaller layer is the one that goes on the card front. We're going to cut a word out of there. And I'm cutting it as one big strip, and I think I'm going to make this one a happy birthday. And then, so this layer, if you want to cut it right away, is 5 1/8. So you could cut that at 5 1/8. Now, if you want to cut some off the end to tighten it up on that side, you can. Or you could like line it right up on here and then cut it, but it's 5 1/8. And then if you just attach that flush to the bottom and you put this right over the top, nobody is the wiser that you pieced that together. Or they might be if they're watching the video and you give it to somebody that's watching the video. But otherwise, nobody's going to know. And that's why I do that, is just so you have optional word choices. Or I'm sure you guys have lots of stamps. If you want to pick a different stamp that you have in your stash, you surely can do that. Or you could take and just do the word and have it be like a layer that's floating down there too. There's lots of options with crafting and card making. Nothing has to be exactly the way that the teacher did it. And if you ever have a teacher that tells you that it has to be the way she did it, I would say nuts to her.
Or him.
Or him. Just my opinion. I think when you're being creative, you should be free to be who you want. So I'm just giving you the tools to do that. We've got 8 minutes left. Actually, I'm probably supposed to finish in sooner. I will post a winner. All right. And then, okay, then let's go on and stamp our trees. Now I did the trees in a green. I don't know which green I used, so let me try this one. Ooh, maybe it wasn't that one because the ink pad just fell off.
Oops.
That's a fairly decent green, but let me see. But yeah, my ink, so I think like my ink pad fell off. Ooh, I hate when that happens. And my other green one I think is out in the car. So I am going to make do with this green one. because it's not sitting right in my spot. It must be in that one box, which I thought I put everything in one box of supplies, but I did stamp it, you know, slightly above the bottom, so you have area for snow and for attaching the house. And you have two sides to it if something does get messed up. There we go. I mean, I think I have a different area of trees there. I think I want to try and see if I can get a different, taller trees in there. So I just turned mine over. You can turn yours over if you want. And then I'll pick the best of two sides. All right, there we go. Maybe I like that side better. I'm gonna heat set those guys to dry them. I don't think this is the same green I used, but that's okay. To do my white on the bottom, I used a white gelato pen, which I did have here. So if you have any type of white marker, white gelato pen, that's what I used on my bottom. And I just basically did that down there. And then I took a Dove blender, or you could use a water brush, and just kind of blended that out a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect. Mine goes up into the trees a little bit, or into the green. I am going to attach that on there really quick with foam tape. We've got like 5 minutes left.
Yep.
The snow that I did in the background on here, that is with a toothpick or a pin and white paint. So if I don't get to that, I just took a white pigment paint, which I've done before. I've done that before where I just take it and I put it on. I don't think I even have a toothpick in here. I think I only have a pin. So let's go on to our house. I did my windows. Oops, that marker's bad. I did my windows. Oh, that marker's bad too. I need to refill some of my Copics. There we go. There's a yellow that works. So I did my windows and my door window yellow, and then I did my house brown. So really easy color. And because I did VersaFine Clear, which isn't great for coloring, I'm not brush stroking a whole lot. And then I did do the roof gray, if I can find a gray marker in my little stash right here, which I don't know that I have, so I think I'm going to just do it a dark brown, a darker brown, and that's okay. But yeah, with doing the VersaFine Clear, which isn't conducive for coloring.
We have about 2 minutes left. So
Yep, I didn't do a whole lot of brush strokes.
Okay.
So, okay, so we'll get off. The only thing that I didn't get to was the snow, which I might actually just do that, a little bit of that quickly, because you guys can cut out the house and just attach them on there with foam tape. But for my snow, usually I'll take a round toothpick. This time I'm using the head to a little pin that I have sitting here, and I basically am just dotting, making random snowflakes all over, which I'm gonna, you can do it over the top when they're dry, so I'm gonna attach my house onto there. And they're irregular, so some are smaller than others, because that's the way snow goes. You have big snowflakes and little snowflakes, and they're random, together, apart, however.
And we hope we don't have too many of those snowflakes tonight.
Yeah, it's supposed to snow and freezing rain, and my mom is driving tomorrow, so we're gonna all pray that she does not have to drive through. She's not driving, she's driving with some people.
We're carpooling.
They're carpooling, yes. Okay, so that is our little snowstorm there. I like doing that to add snow to things because it's just very random. And then we're going to cut out the house, and I'm going to still put my house on there, but I think we're going to get off.
Yep, it's not time.
All right. So who's going to be starting next, Mom?
Misty.
Misty. Okay, Misty's going to be next. So sorry, Misty, if I'm invading your space for a little bit. We are just going to say goodbye to everybody. So thanks for joining me today. If you can, join me on Monday on our Facebook page, and we'll do our Fun Time Thursday. If you can't, surely try to join us on Thursday for our Bake-Along. That's on our Facebook page. Or YouTube. So you're in one of the two spots right now. So anyways, thanks for joining me, guys. Have a great rest of the weekend, and we'll see you on Monday and on Thursday.